People, I mean, obviously Tyson Fury was dominated in the second fight, but there were pockets early in the fight. I think there was 2 right hands. One was in the first round. We flew to, it was 2 days before the first lockdown. We flew to Ireland to speak to Andy Lee after the rematch. And he said that Sugar Hill, the only kind of real technical instruction that he gave him in the rematch was quicken up your feet when you're coming back out, because he backed up in a straight line and did get grazed by a right hand. And we saw when Fury and Wilder kind of embraced after the rematch, where Fury openly said, look, you caught me with a right hand. I think it was the first or the second right hand. And I kind of went cuckoo or what have you, and almost dropped him. So there was, even in the second fight, admittedly, 2 very isolated incidents, 2 shots in those first 2 rounds where he did close the gap, and he was almost on the end of those right hands, as you were saying beforehand. So it's not as though he can't do it, but it's, can he do it on the back of what followed?
You tend to think, no, I just think that what Fury does he prepare for?
Mm.
Does he prepare for an overall thing? Just get really fit and ready, and because he hasn't got that natural boxing. He's an Olympic medalist, so it seems weird to say it. He hasn't got that natural boxing ability, I think, to think on his feet. So he has to train for one type of Fury. So you can adapt in the ring, of course, and at the end of the day, he just swings punches, doesn't he? But does he train totally for an aggressive Fury? Because Fury can change tack like that. I think literally mid-round, I'm going to dance around now for a round, and I'll come back and bully you the next round.
He said about Chisora in the rematch with Chisora. He said, I decided to box southpaw because why not? Were you planning on it? No, I just thought I'd do it.
I just think Wilder's got to jump on him and try and take his head off.
Got to, haven't he? Like, you got to.
That's all he can do, because
but
the start, it's like the first exchanges of this one are just massive, I think, because like you said, in the second fight, he got Fury jumped on him.
Surprised.
And he was surprised, and he just never was able to get into it. And that cannot happen again, can it? He has to. He cannot allow that to happen again. So he can't even really wait to even see what Fury does, maybe.
But he needs a solid jab. I said exactly the same thing about Joshua with Usyk, but he needs a solid jab. And he got rid of one of the guys who had one of the best jabs of the 80s in Mark Breland, and got rid of him. And also, Mark Breland couldn't give him a good jab. So, Malik Scott's a heavyweight. Boxer. It was a slippery fighter. Actually, quite gifted. But is he going to give him a better jab? I can't see it. And so, I know Wilder will commit, but if he can hit Fury with that jab, then he got space for the right hand. Then he can swing that right hand from way back. So it doesn't matter if Fury's seen it, because Fury's dealing with that ramrod left hand. It's just knocked him back. Just flick at that jab out like with no thought process, and then winging that right hand allows Fury to see that right hand and cover, dip in, hold on to you, run away, whatever he does, Fury, or fire back as he did in the second fight. So I think he needs a bit more thought, and I just can't see where he's got that, because he got too many guns for hire. I'm nothing against Malik Scott at all, but it's just all guns for hire. I think Mark Breland was a gun for hire. No, I don't think he is, but and they treated him terribly, but he didn't have control of his fighter. And I think as a cornerman, forget about trainer, but as a corner, the guy in the corner, a good trainer doesn't. Making up words now. A good trainer doesn't automatically mean you're a good cornerman, and vice versa. No, a guy in the corner could be not Angelo Dundee. He's great in the corner, but he just come in the last few weeks of a fight and tidy you up and get you ready. But some people can't get those instructions across. Some people can, and I think he needs someone like that who has authority, who he believes in. I think that's the difference, and I think Fury has it, luckily, and because Fury's been boxing all his life. And is just a boxer, and just all he is, he'll listen to people. If he trusts you, then he'll listen to you. But I don't think Wilder has that. And so I can't see how he gets technically any better, because he just does things his own way. Even though he's learning little bits of little tricks, but he's not learning the fundamentals. That's the thing. He's not learning the fundamentals. And a solid jab for a guy with a big right hand is the most important thing you can have. because it lines you up. You've seen it with Joshua. He got a fantastic right hand, punches correct, but he had no confidence in it because unless you know you can hit the target, as I said to you the other day, he throws the right hand's a blind shot. You're throwing it blind. It's a Hail Mary punch pretty much. But if you can hit him with a solid jab, you know where the target is, you know your range, you have your distance, you have everything right. You can throw that right hand with pure conviction and real confidence that you're probably going to hit. Nothing's for certain. He might hit you back, he might move. But once you've hit him and stopped him with these 19 stone fellas, that jab stops you in your tracks. Enough for you to go crack with the right hand. And then if you have the power, he's asleep. And Wilder has it. And also Wilder, because he commits with that, he leans over a little bit. That punch, it doesn't go 4 inches or 6 inches behind your head. It goes about that far behind your head and knocks you through the next week. But if he doesn't learn that, and if he doesn't improve, and he might have been doing that, I don't know. But if he doesn't do that, then he can still catch you. But it's he's taking risks. When you take risks, then you give a guy an opportunity to beat you up.
Barry, I can't believe we've been doing this for over an hour and we've not mentioned the double feint, which was so prominent in the first fight. You know, I knew you'd be all over this. In the first fight, we saw Fury double feint and Wilder looked like he'd never seen anything like it. In the second fight, which, and it's fair to say, I mean, I don't think Wilder felt that Fury could hurt him. The double feint, but then stepping in behind it with a solid jab and hurting Wilder in the rematch. In the trilogy, knowing that Fury can hurt him, knowing what he went through in the second fight, how pivotal is it that if possible, he learns to deal with that double feint?
Well, he has to just commit. Every time Fury does that, he got to go with him or go away. I think a feint's there to make you react more than it is for you to react. It's to make him react, whether he covers up, so you look at him, covers up. The double feint, by the way, that double feint is so hard to do. I've said it it's so hard to do for me. A little fella, what it's like for like a 19 stone giant like Fury to do it, it's unbelievable. It takes so much energy, like it knackers you out. But again, he's a natural, so I think
it's always relaxed.
Yeah, it's amazing. But that double, because you just don't know where you are. But if he's coming, it's like pivoting. No one likes a pivot.
He loves a pivot as well.
If I don't mention pivot, it's in my life contract.
Pivoting and double feints. We might as well go home and leave Barry to it.
But it's the same with that. When you throw a punch and you pivot, they don't know where you are. There's nothing to fire back with. And with a feint, you don't know what's coming, when it's coming, if it's coming. And that double feint he did made him back up. So see what Wilder does in some fights, he backs up because he got a wide stance. The front foot stays where it is, so he leans back on the back foot and then fires back and gets you.
But that Spilker knockout.
Yeah, but that double feint takes that away because you go back and then you go back again. So he's either off balance or he has to retract both of his feet. And then you've got to move him back. Even if he fires back then, because he's moving back, his feet are closer together, there's lack of power, you can't get the turn. And also, you're coming forward and you can fully commit to your shot. So it works really well. But it's very hard to do. But Fury does it naturally. But he knows what Fury does now. He's been with him twice. And so he has to, every time Fury does any sort of feint, he has to fire or do something. And I don't mean half a step. You got to pivot. I said it twice now. But he has to get around the target when Fury does that. Or for Wilder, as we've all said, pretty much we're all in agreement with, just got to fire. Every time Fury makes any sort of movement, fire. 2-3 shots. And I think against someone who's naturally more gifted than you try and rush their work. Because they need a bit more time to set you up. So you just rush their work. And I think that's what he needs to do.